Aloha class. In this section, we're going to cover malware. It's going to be a brief introduction, but I want to tell you a little bit about what malware is. So let's go ahead. We'll share our book here. And so malware, an attacker may infect a target's device with malware. What does malware mean? It essentially is the combination of two words, malicious software. So malware, if you know about stems in Latin and whatnot, mal is essentially bad, evil. So you've got malicious, something, that's got an evil intent here. So this software is developed to compromise the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of data. Remember that our triad, our confidential, the CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. So malware can be used to steal data, it can modify files, or it can deny access. So malware is often spread through phishing emails, a common, weak link. So malware can be classified by the way it attacks, by the attack method. So you can have spreading malware. So that's malware that's going to infect a device and spread to other devices. You got blocking. So blocking malware is malware that prevents a user from accessing data on the infected device. Like we've used the example, like doctor not being able to access a patient's medical records. Spyware kind of malware is malware that collects information from the infected device. So, it could be looking at your keystrokes and everything and, pulling that information. You've got mislead, so malware that seems like legitimate software, such as a game. I won't reveal who this client was, but I had a client that uh, they hired a new secretary who had, they really wanted to put in these free wallpapers and desktop wallpapers on their computer, and they kept on getting infected, and I had to go down and clear out their system, and we ended up having to reboot, install everything. It was a mess. We had to do this two, three times, and they insisted that they never installed any software, but I noticed that they had this desktop wallpaper that I know wasn't standard, and I asked about that, and they said, "Oh yeah, well we downloaded that." I'm like, ugh, and I looked it up, and sure enough, that was the source of the problem. So they were downloading, infected, freeware. So it was like, here, have some free malware. So they kept on infecting their system that way over and over. So that was very frustrating. So it's a good money maker if you're getting paid by the hour. That's a good way to make money. I unfortunately wasn't doing that. I was doing it as a favor. So yeah, it was very frustrating. So the last type of malware here is hide. So malware that evades detection or conceals other malware. So we're going to take a look at this in the participation activity. So the first one, an attacker using spreading malware, it starts the attack here and then it spreads it to other computers. So the attacker first infects the vulnerable computer, and then the spreading malware replicates it to the other ones. So then we go to the next example. So an attacker uses blocking malware to block access to patient files, halting the hospital operations. So now the attacker can demand some kind of a ransom. In other words, to get them to release the files. So, so the third one, we're going to have spy. So an attacker using spying malware to monitor an infected device so the attacker can gain patient's personal information. And then we're going to have mislead. So an attacker using misleading malware to present the malware as an email attachment containing a patient's medical records. So when the target downloads the attachment, the device is infected with the hardware, or I mean with the malware, malware here. And last, we've got hide here. So an attacker using hiding malware to prevent an infected device from recognizing that the device has been infected by spying malware. So that's an important thing. If you want to make sure that you're not caught by your McAfee, your Norton, or whatever else, you need to be able to hide yourself in there. So yeah, the attacker then can continue to gain confidential information without detection. So the hiding part is, rather difficult. And then we get down here and you're going to mix up things. And I love this because what they're doing is they're taking actual real world examples, and you may remember some of these things. So a couple of the ones that I know, I remember Pegasus. Pegasus was used to remotely monitor the cell phones of journalists and political leaders. There's a lot of great podcasts on this out there that explain it. Stuxnet was an awesome hack. It was attributed. It was. It's pretty obvious that it was the U.S. and Israel attacking Iran. We used Stuxnet, the Stuxnet virus to infiltrate their nuclear uh, enrichment, other what is it, the uranium enrichment facilities. And what they ended up doing was they got all this stuff into their industrial control system somehow. And I think it was brought in through USB drive, something like that. But once it got into this target system, which is very specific, they knew exactly what they were targeting. They figured it out, and they had it where it would infect the system, hide the fact that it was in the system. Remember, we talked about advanced persistent threats. So it got into there because you can't directly connect to it. So they were having to do this and set it up to automatically run when it's in there. So they made this thing, and it was just so amazing that they knew it could only be the US and Israel that was behind it. But once they got this stuff assembled and running in there and hiding itself, it was getting the centrifuges to spin fast to the point that they actually broke and destroyed themselves. So the centrifuges were ruined, and they kept on failing. But the amazing thing was they had it as it was failing. It was having it override the messages going back to the engineers, so they couldn't actually tell that things were going wrong. So these things were failing, and they never got any warnings about it. So it was pretty amazing. But Stuxnet is just a really interesting attack to study. And then Emotet, also, I had personal experience with this. I worked in a Japanese company for about 26 years, and our company in Japan got hit by Emotet. And I remember when it was going around, it was affecting Asia. Specifically, I think it was probably designed to hit most of Asia. And my company in Japan got hit as well. Had a couple of, I think we may have had even two infections of it. But yeah, this stuff really nasty. So yeah, these are real world examples, and it's so nice to see them using these examples in here instead of just, some kind of dry textbook definition of here's what it is. This is actual examples. So you can go out there, and if you're interested in finding out more about these companies, just go ahead and look it up, look up the names of it, and you can find more information on it. So anyway, that's our brief introduction to malware. We'll get into more of this in our next lesson. So uh, I will see you in the next lesson. Aloha. See you then. Bye.